Welcome to Florida Men on Florida Man with Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends and lore and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida. Welcome to episode 239 with Van Plating. Van, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me.
So we have a musician on, and there's one main singing part in our intro.
Yes.
And the musician said, "Nah, I'm not going to sing."
She said, I don't even like that song.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, it was y'all's
we got to
vibe,
pay
you
for
know?
that.
She said it's our vibe.
Yeah.
Not her vibe.
We got to pay to hear that
I mean,
singing
you
voice.
know, I do have a song that mentions the Swanee River that just came out, but y'all didn't use it in the opening credits. So,
Wow.
Well, we still got time.
She just-
awkward now.
She just Uno reversed us.
Yeah.
Right on our own
I
show.
wasn't expecting that. But yeah, we still got time. I mean, Patreon, they heard our original intro.
That's right.
But listeners currently may hear a different intro.
Well, and you know what? Or we could just drop it right after that part. So right when she slams us,
Yeah.
I dropped
There
that
you
song
go.
in
Mic drop.
post. There it is.
A little behind the scenes.
Yeah. So Van, before we went live, you were saying you're from Apopka,
I am.
and that's a small town. And one thing we say frequently on our show is that Florida was frontier not that long ago, and
Right.
you were just saying up until the 90s in Apopka, it was very frontier-esque.
It really was. Like, we didn't have a Walmart. You
Whoa.
know? We didn't.
Yeah.
Well, how'd
we-
you guys eat though?
We had
Yeah.
a Kmart.
Okay.
If you drove like 15
Okay.
minutes, you could get to the Kmart.
This is before Super K?
Oh, we didn't have a Super K.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We hadn't have a Publix.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
know?
My dad said to me one time, and I don't know what this means, and maybe I have to edit this out in post, but I'm going to be risky and say it.
Say it.
He looked at me and he goes, "You got Kmart feet." What does that mean?
I know all about that.
Does that mean I walked barefoot through a grocery store?
Yes.
Okay.
But not just a normal grocery
No.
store.
It was Kmart in Apopka.
Kmart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to dive into your career. We're going to dive into a lot of stories about you.
And you're
but
pro Florida.
You're pro Florida.
I am.
Yeah, you're the Orange Blossom Queen.
I'm the Orange Blossom Queen.
Hell yeah.
Self-proclaimed.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
we proclaim a lot
We
of
proclaim it too.
Yeah.
And so now I think it's official, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the governors before the current one said to us, if you proclaim something on your show, it's declared. So
Yeah.
Well, there
and then
it
if
is.
it's declared, then it's
the word of God.
the word of God. That's the
So
step
it's done.
to start. Yeah.
It's done.
It's done.
Okay, we've got Florida woman. I went Florida woman
Thank
I'm
you.
a Florida woman.
Please, yes.
Yeah.
Florida woman steals car because she was tired of walking.
Now that just sounds
Is that wrong?
practical.
Right?
No, it's not wrong.
The 59-year-old was arrested
Oh, well, then she should be
twice.
retired.
Wait,
She was
arrested twice?
Twice.
Okay.
After 2 attempted thefts, one was successful. The first was foiled by the truck's gear shifter.
Yeah, manual transmissions. However, at 59,
Where
you had your time
you
to
would
learn,
think,
well, let me
right? A manual, yeah.
like, she
59?
should have been fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
She
but-
got a solid 40 years to learn easily.
Well, that's if she started at 19. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was going to say my baby sister was 7 when my dad told her how to drive a manual.
See?
Yeah.
She couldn't even reach the clutch.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. But she first geared it all the way to
Yeah,
the PK
the
store.
mailbox.
Yeah, I think I was 9
See?
See?
when I learned to drive stick.
Well, well, that's what they call it. Because see, whenever I was younger, my first vehicle really was a manual.
Yeah. And this was a
transmission.
sloppy manual. I drove this one, a Bronco 2.
Yes.
This thing, like, you thought you hit it into gear, but it had play left and right.
Yes. It's like a semi truck.
Yeah, it was wild.
Where I've been told.
Yeah.
So this young lady, she tries to steal the car one time.
Right.
Unsuccessfully. She goes, "My bad, I can't drive this." Was it the same car that she
Different car.
she
Same
went
day.
around.
So she gets out and goes, "I'm looking for one of those automatic
Yeah.
ones, if you don't mind."
And then a couple hours later,
Yeah.
she tried a different car.
Whoa. What happened in the couple hours?
I don't know. I don't. Hold on. Let me.
Well,
look.
I just feel like I like to believe that when she failed the first attempt,
Yeah.
she went home and goes, "I shouldn't be stealing cars."
Yeah.
But then she was like, "Wait a second,
Something happened.
I hate walking."
Yep.
'Cause that's
Yeah.
what the headline says. She was tired of walking, right?
She was tired of walking.
I
And
mean,
it took a 2-hour night,
Yeah.
maybe, and then stole another
Yeah,
one.
like 1:00, and then by 3:00, she tried. So first she was at a Walmart,
see, there we go
Yep.
again.
Yep.
you know,
Strike
and
one.
she miscalculated.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
She was trying to steal this
You got to
2016
peek in
Dodge Ram.
first and go, is
She
this
didn't
a
look.
manual?
She
yeah.
thought this isn't that old of a car.
Yeah,
I
it
should
should
be
be
automatic.
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm learning this here. They still make manuals?
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah,
guess.
it's rare. Especially to get it in like a sports sedan, which I
Right.
would like if anybody's selling one.
Oh my gosh! So it was 4 hours. 4 hours
She
later,
took a 4-hour break.
cops respond to another auto theft. This time of a 2001 Toyota.
Okay. Now she goes foreign.
Camry. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was right for a safety vehicle. That's easy. Easy
And
choice.
the owners said they were exiting a library and they observed their car being driven away.
By a 59-year-old lady.
And it was
Okay.
the same lady.
Okay. See, I'm not against like the stealing of the car if nobody's there,
Right.
Right.
right? I
Yes.
think like if you're stealing it from me and I'm in it, that's bad. I'm
Offensive.
offended. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
like
strike one.
if a tree
Yeah.
falls in a forest, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
If someone steals your car and no one saw it, did you just lose your car maybe?
Probably.
maybe
You
it
yeah.
just-
misplaced your car.
Yeah.
Library parking lot.
Now, can I just say, can I just say this? If this had been a man,
Oh, wow.
right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Execution.
I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking that. I was just thinking that you said a man, and I got the picture of a man in my head.
Well, I know. Yeah, a man thief.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is funny how chill it seems like the whole process of stealing cars was for her.
Yeah,
that
and she
day.
didn't get
And she didn't get
killed
arrested or
in the state
killed
of
or-
Florida,
Well,
Or-
which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van, let me ask you
Kind of
this.
surprising.
If you
Yeah.
put yourself in this young lady's shoes, if you try to steal a car and then you can't because of it's a skill level, right? Like
Yeah,
it's,
there
it's,
are
a skill,
levels.
it's a skill
right,
issue.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Do you just quit? Because I would. I mean, I would be like, you know what? That's a bad idea to begin with.
Yeah.
Would you go back for a second try?
I don't know. I mean, I am kind of a persistent person.
Yeah.
How many cars would you fail to steal before you quit giving up and like not steal a car? That's a good question.
I'll take this one.
We've never asked this on our show before.
So
good question.
Yeah, I think it's because she was tired of walking.
Yeah.
I would try Infinity cars.
Yeah.
Every car on the
Yeah.
lot.
Every car. I'm tired of walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I kind of like walking.
Oh no!
But I
so
gotta get that.
zero
That's
cars.
not- that's
yeah,
not-
you need to get in her
that's not- I
headspace.
gotta-
What's her name?
So they didn't give her name, which was
Dorothy.
also really kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. We're not going
Really?
to dox
You
her.
know?
We'll call her Rachel.
Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Van, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you, as an artist, what's your genre? Can I accept? Because I want to refer to it.
Well, it's definitely in the country space.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Mhm.
As a country artist,
Oh,
I feel like you saying I just kind of like walking. That's
God, it
kind of on
fits.
brand, doesn't
Yeah,
it? A little
It
bit.
does fit.
fits. Yeah.
I feel
Should I
like
write that down?
I feel
Yeah.
like
Kind of like walking.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you, do
that's
you
a
have
hook.
like some notes right here? Like we just
Kinda
wrote a
like
song.
walking.
I love
Yeah.
it.
This is-
I was gonna like improv off of that. like
He
with a
just
song,
did.
but I can't. I just said the same line.
If you thought you
Kind
heard,
of like
you
walking.
thought you heard Johnny Cash playing, that was him
That
just
was me.
now.
Yeah, it was him.
In Mike
Kind of
3.
like
at him go.
walking. Kind of like running. I went Forrest Gump there.
So instead of Johnny Cash's song, I built it one piece at a time. I took it one piece at a time. It's like I took it one step at a time.
Amen.
There you
we
go.
go. See? Okay. Wow.
All right. Which, by the way, side note, that song is so good.
It's one of my favorites.
About him stealing it. For those who haven't heard it, it's about Johnny Cash stealing a car one piece at a time. He just literally rebuilt a car,
Wow.
but stole it one piece at a time.
The ship of Theseus, I believe that's called.
Is it even the same car anymore? That's the
My
theory.
man. Yeah. Right.
So as a philosophizer, I realize headline 1 is done, and we're moving on to headline 2.
Okay.
Because
let me
Van
pull it up
brought
really quick.
2 headlines.
Is this the petty one?
This one is so petty. It's in not a Tom Petty way. In a like
Uncle Petty.
I can't believe these
Yeah.
people are so petty, and it's
We
so
can get
funny.
pettier.
This story made it all the way. The first headline I found it in was actually in a UK newspaper.
That's what I'm talking about.
But it was
When
Florida
we
based.
But it was
cross the
Florida.
pond.
Yes.
Okay, I feel like I shouldn't use her name, but it's in the headline.
Mhm.
So her first name is Margarita.
Okay, come on.
Oh, yes, please.
Who is Margarita Chopin?
Chopin.
Florida woman sues bakery after cake thief posters land her in the hospital.
Okay.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a
to
lot. There's
untie.
a lot of confusion there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in Miami, Florida,
Yep.
a Florida woman is suing a French bakery for defamation after they called her a cake thief and,
Okay.
worse than this, they called her a Karen.
Oh my gosh.
on posters,
Oh,
on
no.
posters
No,
that
no,
they
no.
displayed
Yep.
in their store.
Mm-mm.
They put a wanted poster out for her.
Cake thief.
No, it said cake thief
Yeah.
with a picture. They took her picture off of her social media.
Oh my gosh.
For
And
shame.
Wow,
for
that's
shaming
like-
her.
Yeah.
For shame.
Yeah.
Are there shaming laws?
I would think there would be,
I
but
guess
I don't
defamation is a shaming law, right?
But if it's your social media that you posted,
know. Right.
But it's not like her like sneaking out with a cake.
No, it was
It's
a
just
picture.
like
They wanted a picture
glamour
of
shot.
her. It's like her little
Oh.
selfie, and she
Yeah.
looks really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most.
then it says
Margarita
cake
though.
thief.
I like that.
I love that. Like both your headlines are thief related.
Yes.
Yeah.
But okay, I kind of want to know, and the headline may not even say this, but I want to know like the guts it takes to steal a cake.
So she didn't really
She
steal the
didn't.
cake. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So she ordered this cake, and
Okay.
she's like a vegetarian,
Okay.
up and coming influencer or something.
that's
like
fine. Yeah,
this.
it's just
and
a
we love that
genre,
for
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, an untouched
so
market.
she was ordering a healthy cake,
Of course. Yeah.
but she came to pick up the cake, and they gave her the not healthy
Right.
cake.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
And apparently she didn't, you know,
She
she wasn't
slammed
the
them?
most chill about it.
Oh,
Did
did
she
she
spike it? Did
post
she- did she, like,
first?
She didn't post anything,
She
though.
didn't post anything.
She misunderstood. They said, okay, fine, we'll refund your money.
Okay. Cool.
And she was apparently looking at her phone and said she didn't see the refund. And she
Okay.
was like, whatever, fine, I'm in a hurry.
Oh,
like
this was
any
in
of us would
person
be.
where
This
the
is in
sass
person.
happened.
The sass happened in person. So she's like, any one of us, you know, she's like, you know what, forget it. I'll just take the cake and go.
Yeah.
But they had refunded her and she didn't believe them.
Oh,
'cause it hadn't shown up. Yeah.
So
I get it.
then the bakery is so angry
Yeah.
Hmm.
They go,
over this cake
Yeah.
print
This
her photo.
fake
that they
cake.
went to
Wow.
her socials, printed out her picture, turned it into a poster.
Hmm.
Cake thief Karen. Or
Huh.
something.
That's petty.
Can I be? It's petty, but can I be upfront with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rock that poster so hard.
Oh, I printed on a shirt.
If someone
baby.
made that about
Yeah.
me, and I felt justified,
Yeah.
I would print it out and own it.
Same.
That should be her post, like on
And-
Instagram.
And she was so upset by it that
Yes.
the article says that she ended up like in the hospital with like
Wow.
traumatic mental distress. And I'm just
I
like,
think that's how you inflate that
do you
lawsuit.
realize how awesome it is though that like you're on a poster?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it probably
and
would-
you didn't
Cake
make it.
thief.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like, I'm just saying she probably had GERD or something from that cake because she's not used to eating a
Oh,
sugary
yeah.
treat.
It blew her up.
Yeah.
So she goes to the hospital
Yeah.
for emotional distress and
Yeah.
it was just gas.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
gas. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Gas is upsetting.
Oh wow! So if the cake gave her gas and it wasn't stress, that's a real
Yeah.
question. Would you
Okay.
rather be sued for defamation or defecation? I'll let Luke take this one. But no, for real, those words are too close together, and I feel like they could be mixed up.
I bet there's been
For
a
sure.
there's been a court reporter who has made a typo before.
Yeah,
For
And then
sure.
someone goes down like they were talking mad trash
Yeah.
about their barber.
yeah,
And then everybody's like,
Wow.
"Oh, that's the guy that pooped everywhere." You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
I'd
that's
sue that.
oh,
I'd
I
sue
was,
for that.
but then,
Well, it was a mocha cake too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Now I'm hungry.
So
nasty.
Yeah, I would sue though. I would sue the cake place if they said I had came in and crapped everywhere.
Oh, 100%.
Like I feel like that's too far.
yeah,
right,
but
like-
not for stealing.
No, that's kind of like a cool person's crime,
100%.
right?
Yes.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Josh.
So we're here with Van Plating.
Yes.
That's
Hey.
a very unique name.
Mhm.
Not a lot of present tense last names out
True,
there. Plating is
true.
unique. When Wayne told me about you, I thought this is a armory service,
it
like
could
for
do
armored cars. And I
yeah.
was like, I'm interested. And he said, it's a country singer. And I said, but I don't like country. I don't like bro country.
Oh,
And he said, neither does she.
That's right.
hate it.
Yeah. So Van Plating, I hear you have gifts for us.
I do.
I've heard through my earphones.
Now, it's gorgeous artwork.
Yes.
So this is I'm sorry, Jenna. I hope you see this before this show comes out.
That's Jenna is feeling.
Yes.
She decorated
So
our entire
Jenna
set.
is feeling.
Whoa.
Created the branding and the artwork.
I believe that.
The
So
photography is
cool,
also by a Lakeland artist. The photography is by Sarah Brewington Barnes.
Okay.
And the nature photography you see inside is my friend Will Payne Harrison. He's from Louisiana.
Dude, this is gorgeous.
And
He's
then
in good company.
some of the other photography is Jameson Swanson, who I met through Balance Culture.
This is incredible.
Yeah, there's a booklet inside too with all kinds of artwork and.
This is
inside
the full
stuff.
deal.
Yeah,
This
Yeah,
is
you
the
get the
full
full deal.
record,
This is
dude.
legit.
The whole
Thank you so
thing.
much.
Nobody
Very
has
cool.
this.
Really? Okay.
Nobody has seen it.
Up for sale presently is
Dude, honestly, thank you. And we'll put it in our studio.
Yay!
Yes, that's awesome.
But- yeah, but what I see here is Orange Blossom Child, and
Mhm.
if listeners remember, maybe a month ago, I quizzed the guys on the Orange Blossom Express, a
Yes.
famous train and a famous Johnny Cash song, I believe.
Yes.
I don't know. I really didn't do a lot of
Orange
research.
Blossom Special.
Yeah,
Is that what
that's
we're talking
probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Yeah, you'd know. But does it have a lot of significance to you as the Orange Blossom Child?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Johnny Cash or
All of it.
all of it?
Orange Blossom Special is one of the first songs you learn as a young fiddle player.
That is, I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks to my quiz. It was about fiddle playing. And it
Yeah,
being
it
like,
really was.
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
song wasn't originally by him, it was by someone else.
Right. Him and the Tennessee Three did make their version of
Yeah.
it super famous.
Yep.
But it's better with a fiddle.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started playing fiddle?
3 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mom and dad said I could quit when I graduated from high school.
Quit the
Good.
fiddle.
If I wanted to quit, then was when I was allowed to quit.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a unique rule. That's a very old country rule.
They have a lot of unique rules.
Yeah,
my
because
mom and
usually it's
dad.
no dating, and yours was you got to play the fiddle.
Yeah, that was it.
That sounds like it's out of a book or something. I would be like, that's BS.
No,
Why would
that's
they
for
write
real.
that in a book? Okay, so they said you can't stop playing the fiddle.
They said you have to keep it up till you graduate in high school. Now my mother swears they gave me an out when
That's
I was
us-
like
A
12.
banjo.
That's usually.
Here's your out.
If you want to pivot the banjo in 8th grade,
Yeah.
Right.
you can.
Right.
So what was that like though? I mean, we already touched on the fact that you grew up in a popka. Did playing fiddle? Did you ever feel like it would play into your career the way it has?
Yes. Not the way it has. So I had sort of this double existence on that instrument because I started classical violin lessons at 3, but I learned to improvise sitting in with my granddad's bluegrass band.
Cool.
Oh
Very
man.
cool.
And so I was learning Bach and Vivaldi and all of that stuff simultaneously with Ragtime Annie and Orange Blossom Special.
Now you're
and
preaching art.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
like all at the
Ragtime
same
Annie.
Indie
time.
artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ragtime.
Yeah.
So that's wild though.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like the Orange Blossom Queen, you're leaning into a Florida brand that's really intimate for us. It feels very Florida-esque. And the other night off the air, you and I were discussing this, and you were saying how like a lot of country comes from like Nashville and Texas and the like, but you want to push the Florida brand, like
I
the
do.
Florida brand of country.
I do, because there's so much art that has come from here that people ascribe to other places because they don't do their research and they don't know.
Okay, I know. I did say Orange Blossom Special. It's called Orange Blossom Express, and that it was by
but
Johnny
there was
Cash.
a train. You were
Yes,
right.
I was.
And Johnny Cash did perform it. I
Yes.
mean, you were getting there.
I was getting there. Give me another 20 minutes. I would have gotten there.
And I'm not an expert by any means, but growing up here and growing up where I did within the like the Florida timeline and culturally and all that stuff, for better or for worse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was crappy stuff too. But musically, man, like I grew up in the time when John Anderson was breaking his career, you know.
Sure.
Wayne's a big fan. What's he famous for?
He's famous for the hoop. You know it. What is it?
Seminole Wind,
Seminole Wind.
Straight Tequila Night,
Straight Tequila Night.
Yeah.
all the. I mean,
Straight
there's so many.
Tequila Night.
Don't
Yeah.
turn on a straight tequila
There's-
night. There it is.
He
I
found
know
it. He found it.
I found it.
Was that true? Did he though?
Did
or
I
was
find
it-
it?
yeah, were
That
you
was the
way
hook.
off?
Yeah,
No, that's the hook.
That's the
You
hook.
knew it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
wow.
hook. But no.
Wow, I put him under the microscope, and
He came through
he did.
those like core memories.
Yeah.
It came out of me. Like
yeah.
I vomited that out. I didn't even want to sing that. That was a country demon came out of me. That's what that was.
Oh my gosh. I still can't get over I mean, if anything makes a country musician, it's having parents that say, here's a fiddle. You can't stop playing it till you're 3.
For 15 more years.
Yeah, that's insane. But yeah, it makes, I guess,
They're
a musician.
intense, but you know what? It paid for college.
Cool.
And I was grateful for that. Now I could have done without like the therapy that I needed to go to because
Amen.
of that
Yeah.
instrument.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that was also paid for because it was in college. So
Oh,
you know, it's
okay.
fine.
Wow.
Do you think in a Devil Went Down the Georgia situation you would be able to beat him on the fiddle?
Hell yes.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, let's go.
Okay,
That's
coming
what I'm
out,
talking about.
actually, coming out door 2, we've got
Satan.
Satan.
Devil can't write no love
Lucifer.
song.
So can you tell us a bit about this record? It's called The Orange Blossom Child. What's the story behind that?
Well, I wanted to, you know, as I told you the other night when we were having dinner with our family. Well, your family and my husband, because I left my family behind.
That's right, in a popka.
Okay, wow. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, you walked here.
Me and Jack came here. We
Oh,
walked
I
because
thought it
we
was like a
kind of
rapture.
like
Yeah.
walking, you know. I
Yeah,
kinda like
you
walking.
do like walking.
But you tried to steal a car first. It didn't work out, so then you walked
I
over.
just walked over from
Yeah.
Popka. I, you know, in my travels around, I had noticed that people kind of had assumed that I was from a certain place because of the way I talk and the way I sing and all of that. And so that had kind of gotten my gears going toward, you know, what's the art that I love that's iconic, right? So you think of iconic singers like your Johnny Cashes and your Bruce Springsteens and your
Mariah
Tom
Carey.
Petty's and Mariah Carey
Yes, amen.
and all of that, you know. And I was like, I want to be more specific on the next album
Mm-hmm.
because I think back to, you know, my upbringing. Music was always such a thing. You know, we played bluegrass on the weekends. Country music was everywhere. And I didn't think we grew up in the country. That was another weird thing about growing up where I did. We didn't think of ourselves as living in rural Florida. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were definitely.
I
Yeah.
volunteered at the Corn Festival.
Yeah,
you
there
know?
you go.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, better than the porn festival, though. Amen.
that's,
These guys know what I'm saying.
yeah, that would have been a different
Yeah,
vibe.
different upbringing, different therapy. I've been
Yeah,
there.
Early on, just to interject, we'll get back. But early on, we did cover. Remember the spooky episode we did on the Corn Festival?
Yeah, so scary.
We did a Halloween episode like in year 1 or 2
Oh my
about the Corn
gosh.
Festival,
Yeah.
and there was like cult like behavior that was happening in the evenings
Oh my gosh.
where folks would.
Dude.
You testify?
Please.
Dude, it's
Let's
real.
go.
It's all real.
Unpack it. Let's go.
Yes, yes.
We'll talk.
And
Let's
also,
talk
like-
album and corn cults.
Oh, right, the album. Okay, we'll go back.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
go back to the Corn Festival and the large vat of butter that was always boiling.
Yo.
Hell yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people
Down
came to
there.
worship the corn. It was big, guys. It was like, okay, the album. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Orange Blossom Child, it was kind of fermenting, you know, and a peer of mine who's since his career's like taken off, Charles Wesley Godwin, wrote an album a few years ago that was just really, really rooted in West Virginia. And I was thinking about how well his fans connected with that in spite of the fact that they were from all over. And I've never shared that with anybody, but that was definitely in my thinking. And then just on top of that, like, who's iconic? Who has used those experiences in a way that brings people in? So I'm thinking that way. And then we get Haven magazine. Do you guys get
Yeah.
Haven?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so Haven is this wonderful semi-local. I mean,
Yeah.
they have a pretty big reach now.
Shout out to Destroyer Media.
Oh, they're
That's right.
so good.
They're good people.
They're so good at what
Yeah.
they do, and they're such kind people. They had done this article on the history of music in Polk County.
Wow.
Did you guys read this?
I didn't know there
No.
was music in Polk
So
County.
much, so much, and so much more than I knew because I didn't grow up in Polk County. We
Yeah.
discussed this. I was in a Popka.
Popka,
We had
which is
Kmart.
Big Potato, if I'm
It's
not.
the Big Potato.
Am I right? Yeah, that's the Seminole
Yes.
translation. Yeah, I know
Yes. Yes. So I didn't know much about Polk County. And I start reading this article, and it's all about it was really centered around the Graham Parsons Dairy down, and they interviewed all these different people from all over the country about the history there. And so in the process of all these interviews, it comes to light that like Bobby Braddock, who's a world famous songwriter, he mostly does artist management, older guy.
He wrote Divorce.
Yes, he wrote a lot of hits for George Jones.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Divorce.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good spelling.
Thank you. It took me a minute.
And Graham Parsons, I didn't know Graham Parsons was originally from Winter Haven, and I had no idea that John Corneal, who played drums in both of his bands that went on to be super successful, played at Hillcrest, a live set every Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew there was like a really cool older dude who had like impeccable style, and I wanted everything that
Guilty.
he's so cool. But I didn't know, I didn't have context for him.
I get it.
You know what I mean? And so
But
all
you know,
of a sudden,
but I agree though. He's different. Like
Yeah.
when he walks in a room,
Yeah.
you're like,
he has presence.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
a world famous drummer.
He invented my genre. He
So
invented
crazy.
country rock and roll.
He's
Really?
at Hillcrest like every week.
And he's at
Really?
Hillcrest every week, and his stories are bananas. I mean, they're just off the wall and all true, and it's crazy wild. So I put all that together, and I started thinking, oh my gosh, for this next album, what if I could get John Corneal on it?
Right.
What
Yeah.
if and so that like started
Wow.
connecting all the dots for me, and I just dove into beginning to write. And was really intentional about my verbiage, like everything, instead of saying the word bird, maybe I say whippoorwill or kite bird or heron,
Oh, very specific. Heron I could identify with.
specificity.
Big heron fan. over
That's
here.
right, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah.
Florida wildlife.
Yeah.
So like you're mentioning things that like when you're listening, you hear a certain vocabulary and you go, oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it feels like
Yeah.
Florida.
Right.
Right.
And then you go to the musical layering, and I wanted to use only sounds that I grew up with up to a certain point, right? So the sounds that I use are either we've got bluegrass instruments, like we've got some banjos, we've got some mandolins, really incredible cast of musicians. There's 32 people besides me on this album.
Goodness.
So crazy.
I
Which,
don't
like-
know 32 people.
My left eye was twitching by January.
Yeah.
You
just from
trying to manage all that.
Yeah.
But just incredible musicians from all over. So there's like banjo, pedal steel, mandolin, obviously lots of guitars. And then all the way up and through, the 60s influences. My drummer for this album is a good friend. His name is John Lum. He plays for Devin Allman, who's Greg Allman's son.
That's insane.
Wow.
Greg Allman's mics were used on a lot of the drums, just as like an
Wow.
homage to,
Yeah. So their DNA is there.
Yes.
And spit.
So it's a modern record. Yeah. So it's a modern record,
yeah.
but like through the lens of history.
Yes, and then all the way up and through all those Petty sounds that we love. I went up through like the 80s, 90s Tom Petty sounds. There's a lot of
Okay.
riffs on all those sounds. A good heap of Rolling Stones in there too. Oh, I played cowbell on it. Which
Wayne's
was
a big Spoons fan.
Yeah.
I'm
don't
no
know if
good
you-
at spoons.
Yeah. He's
Are
not
you good
either,
at
but he's a big
spoons?
fan of them.
Yeah, I'm not good at it, but I watch YouTube videos of people who are good at it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you this.
No spoons on the album, though, huh?
I'm no good at spoons. I'm great at cowbell.
Cool.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How personal is this record? I mean, because it's it's your childhood. It's what you grew up playing and listening. Like, and as an artist, when you're writing these, like, do you feel like it was kind of like heart wreshing in a way? Like,
Yes.
is it journalistic?
100% autobiographical. It
Oh.
was very, very intense. The song, when we get to talking about the specific song I want to talk about tonight, it's, some artists feel narcissistic sharing their stories. I don't feel that way. I feel like the best way I can ever use my art to make someone else's day a little lighter is to be honest about my own.
It's good.
Preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these stories are really honest, and there's laughter and lightness, and there's also a lot of depth to it, and especially with being so specific instead of just writing like a universal love song or whatever. These are things that have actually happened.
Yeah.
God, that sounds tough. I mean, I'm in therapy, but like she's been telling me to journal, and I'm like, I don't want to write that down. And then now to think if I had to journal and turn it into a song,
For everyone to
it was
listen.
just like
For
pain.
everyone to listen to.
Yeah, I would just no.
Can you dive into that song,
defecate.
the song that you wanted to
Please.
cover?
I would love to.
Yeah,
if
What's
you
the
guys are
story
down.
behind that song?
So there's a song that's coming out on Friday of this week, so that'll be August the 18th. And it's the next single on my album, and it's called "The Hard Way."
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Hate
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
already.
yeah, and it's a song. It took me about 8 years
Wow.
to be ready to talk about it, and it follows kind of this arc of, we grow up, and oftentimes, especially as women, we can lose ourselves in all of our roles that
Mhm.
we're supposed to play. And what happened, the event that was the catalyst for this song was in 2015. I was sitting outside nursing my daughter, Aurora, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was in this intense, excruciating pain. So intense that I had to hand the baby to Jack, and I went inside and I was like, I'm just gonna lay down for a minute. I passed out. I came to,
Goodness.
and I was just in excruciating pain. So we called the hospital. They said, well, it sounds like you might be miscarrying. And I had miscarried a baby before. I know this is heavy stuff, but
No,
this is
please
very
share.
real.
No.
This is this is what happened to me. So I had miscarried before, and because of that, they said, well, if you come into the hospital, we're really just going to watch you. It's not going to be
gosh.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So I stayed home.
Wow.
I've given birth 4 times,
Mhm.
and it was pain that was so intense that I could hardly breathe. I remember the first night, my friend Ida Mundell, some of you might know her, she came over and she just sat with me. And I made it through the night.
First night?
Yeah, I didn't know. So I didn't know what was going on,
Of course,
because the assumption was this is a miscarriage. And what happens with that is it's a few days and you bleed and it sucks. And then you're left grieving. Well, what happened with me was my left fallopian tube had ruptured.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know.
Holy moly.
And it was a weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So my doctor wasn't in his office. So Monday rolls around. We call the OB. We get there and they say, well, we'll give you a blood test. And then you wait 24 more hours.
Does the blood test say my fallopian tube?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
that's what's crazy about this whole thing is what they do is they check your pregnancy hormone levels.
Yeah.
And if they continue to rise and you're still pregnant, then you get an ultrasound and then they'll do a procedure to take care of you.
I feel like my pregnancy hormone levels are increasing.
yeah.
from this.
But the thing that's so rare about what happened to me is that I was awake.
Oh,
Usually if your fallopian tube ruptures and you're bleeding internally, you bleed out and die or you get to the hospital.
Well, you did pass out from pain initially.
I
That's
did.
Probably a good sign to go
I did.
to the hospital.
It probably would have been good.
Because you
even
only
then
get 2 fallopian tubes, am I right?
you get
ladies?
2. You get 2.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
job
Thank
paying
you.
attention in that anatomy class.
I do.
So anyway, so all of this was we didn't know what was going on. We thought I was miscarrying, and that is hard enough.
Yeah.
They check, I'm still pregnant. This whole time I haven't seen my doctor, so it goes to Tuesday.
Okay, so the fallopian tube can do its thing and still be pregnant?
Yes, your hormone levels, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how this works, but your hormone levels continue to read as pregnant until they perform a surgery to remove all of that tissue from your body. So Tuesday rolls around. I test as still pregnant.
Yep.
They say maybe we need to schedule something.
Yes.
I run into my doctor in the hallway, thank God. And he took one look at me and said, you need to go get your things and go to the hospital.
Sir,
Finally, somebody with some
yeah.
common sense, it sounds like.
I had bled internally for 5 days at that point.
Oh, goodness.
I lost 3 liters of blood. I
Holy
was so
moly.
weak that I've never in my life experienced anything like that.
Well,
and
yeah,
it was
you need the
so-
blood to keep going.
You do need the blood to
Yeah.
keep
It's part
going.
of the machine.
And I was so the miraculous crazy thing about it was that I was awake And that's what threw everybody. I was like,
Yeah, you're functioning, you're walking
Yeah.
around.
know,
Yeah.
In
I mean,
insane pain.
I was in an insane amount of pain, but I was conscious, and that's what kind of caused people to not freak out as much as they really should have.
Wow.
Then I get to the hospital and I find out, they said, you will probably not come home. You need to say goodbye to your children.
Okay, well,
And so so I
this
did
is
that.
a lot.
And I go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I know, but that's where this song came from.
Wow.
And I go to the hospital. They put me under, they perform the surgery, the doctor comes out, and you never want to be the person who surprises the doctor,
Yeah.
No, you never want the doctor to go, wait, what?
you never
Wait
want
a
them to be
second.
like, I've never seen this, and she
Yeah.
comes in,
and then calls people in.
right,
Oh, yeah, you don't want to be that person.
and my husband said it was just the craziest thing. I was coming out of anesthesia and everything. She came to check on me, and they couldn't even give me a transfusion safely because I had lost so much blood that it was
Wow.
riskier for them to do that than to do this other thing, which they gave me this crazy high hydration IV to help my body make blood.
Yeah.
And it was like this gamble that she took because it was so much safer than the risk of me getting sicker,
Holy
Unreal.
moly.
So she tells me that. She tells me, like, I've never seen anything like that. This tiny blood clot was covering an artery
No way.
in your uterus, and that saved your life.
What?
Yeah.
That's so
Wow.
wild.
So the blood clots that usually like take people down.
Yeah,
This
it
one,
saved
like,
my life.
saved your
It
life.
clotted right. It slowed the bleeding just enough.
Unreal.
I mean, I think, how many liters of blood do we
I don't
actually
even
have
know,
in our
but
body?
I
I
don't
think it's
even
like
know.
I would have guessed
5,
3.
maybe?
Yeah.
It's not
I mean,
like it's not a 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd lost 3 in anyway, it was
Yeah, it was all there though.
yeah,
Not
and
in a good spot though.
not in a good spot.
Yeah.
Not
'cause
in a
you
good
need
spot.
it going through.
You need it flowing.
Yeah.
Not just
I can help you out here.
sitting.
It's a circulatory system.
So I survived.
yeah.
I survived this
Goodness.
crazy thing.
Yeah, and wrote a
And
song
no one
about
thought I
it?
would. And then you experience like I didn't know I was pregnant, and then you're grieving, and then you're like, they sit you down and they say, this is what's great about the hospital. After you
Yeah.
have a baby or after you have a tragedy, they sit you down and they say, so let's talk about your future of fertility or whatever. And she sits down on the bed to talk to me. She said, I just want you to know you're down to 1. You're probably never going to get pregnant again
Yeah.
unless you want to pursue some other alternatives. And I was like, okay, we had 3 kids already.
Okay, that's a pretty
you
big
know,
blessing.
And I was happy. I loved them. I still love them.
Okay, good to know.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah,
But
the
and
Trinity.
I just remember when I left the hospital thinking, man, that would be kind of a sucky way for the story to end. But I didn't, getting pregnant, none of that was even on my radar. I just was happy to be alive.
Of course,
and
yeah.
that was the beginning of me even waking up enough to start writing music again. That,
Oh, wow. So that was like a
Oh,
turning
that
That
point
was
the
a
for you.
turning
epiphany.
point. It was a turning point, and it wasn't like there was no still small voice. There was no vision. It was like I woke up and I was breathing, and breathing was so hard when it first happened. And I was like, I can't go back to trying to be a great mom and trying to be this perfect worship leader and trying to be like I need to be who I was made to be, whatever that looks like from like here on out. Because who
So
knows how much
good.
time
So
we have.
good. Yeah.
And
I get
so
it. Yeah.
6 months go by.
This is
6 months
good.
go by.
Yeah.
We're in the mountains, Thanksgiving. And I'm feeling weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Yeah, feeling weird.
I don't know if I can take another one.
Yeah. So
Give it to me.
I tell my husband, I know that this is impossible, but I
Yeah.
probably should take a pregnancy test.
Okay.
So-
Okay. I'll take that. I thought it was the other fallopian tube. The other.
No,
the
no,
other-
we still
yeah.
got one, but we got a
Phew,
vasectomy
yeah.
now. So.
Okay. My
Uh,
man.
3 pregnancy tests later, I was
Yeah.
pregnant with my son.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So crazy.
And you love him? Currently?
Love him. He's
Okay.
awesome. They're all awesome. And 2 weeks after he was born, we drove Jack to get a vasectomy.
Yeah. All right, Jack. Did he go with the guy on the billboards?
He did.
Wow.
He
no
did?
way.
But it wasn't that guy. It was
wasn't
like
that guy.
his
His
less
protege?
billboardy
His uncle.
assistant
Yeah.
guy.
Less photogenic
I guess.
protege.
What's your son's name?
His name is Heath.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you wrote this song, and so that tragedy, that
Mhm.
heartache, kind of like birthed your career in
It
the
really
law.
did.
Birth.
I really
Nice.
do look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I get
nice.
it. That was good.
And
Yeah.
and so but then like this record comes out. This is your second or
Mhm.
third record?
Third.
Third record.
Mhm.
Why tell that story now on this one? Were you not
Yeah.
ready on the first or second
I
albums?
didn't even know if I could write that song yet. I don't know if I was in a place emotionally, spiritually, or any of it where I could write that song yet.
Hmm.
There's a confidence that comes from surviving stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to grow into that, I think.
That's good.
And I think I'm in a place now where I no longer really feel like I have to prove anything to anybody but myself,
Wow.
Yeah.
you know, and it was one of the last songs to be written on the record.
So crazy.
Yeah.
How do you feel post writing it though? After, is it like breath? Like you feel free of it?
Well,
Like you got it down, you got it on paper, on music, and now it's kind of
that's an interesting question. It felt writing it felt really cathartic in a good, not in like a way that I'm reliving something bad, but
Mhm.
more like because I'm remembering that I lived through something.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the crux of the song. There's all kinds of hard stuff that happens to all of us, other hard stuff that's happened to me, you know, that's kind of embedded into that song. But vocally, this song became sort of when you hear it, you guys haven't heard it yet, but it's like the most intense vocal performance on the whole record.
cool.
And that feels pretty badass
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have
Sounds
watched, you
badass.
know. And then I have 2 guests singing with me on this song that I never in a million years would have thought I could get on
Yeah.
this
How'd
record.
you choose them for this
Well,
most important song?
I was texting with a friend of mine who's just been a great sounding board throughout the recording process, and he was encouraging me to, you know, I was at the very end, so everything was mixed.
Mhm.
And it was like the last 3-4 weeks of mixing, I was working on bringing guests in, and there's a whole pile of guests on this album. That's
Cool.
another thing that's kind of unique about it. There's like 9 features on it.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
9 of the 11 songs have somebody featured
Very
on it.
cool.
Because it became this like communal effort. Like people kept saying yes, and when people say yes, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
Other people said yes. No, I'm going to be like, "Come on,
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
it,
Yep.
bring it." You
Yeah.
know?
100%.
So there's a band called Reckless Kelly. They're a Grammy Award-winning country band that I think they're really cool. I always have. And we were texting about different people who could be on it. And I really wanted some guys to sing on this with me because it felt important to dignify the experience of grieving as not just a female experience,
Oh, thank you.
but as one that happened, you know, it happens to all of us. you
Yeah.
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 and so I just like threw it out there, and my friend's a producer too, and he goes, "Oh, I just booked Cody for some fiddle playing for another thing. You want me to ask them if they'll sing on it?" And I was like, "You
Yeah.
won't, but yes,
Yeah.
will you?"
Yeah.
Man,
And he asked them, and they liked the song, and they said, "If y'all don't mind waiting a couple weeks, we'll do it. We'll do it when we go back
So
into the studio to do
cool.
our new record." And I was like, "Ah!" And then I didn't breathe for like 3 weeks until I got the
course.
files,
this is unreal.
and it comes out.
What a
this
roller
Friday.
coaster, man.
Yeah.
What a roller coaster. I
Wow.
mean,
Yeah.
and because I think sometimes you have to watch somebody love something before you kind of like understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same is true.
100%.
That's true for songs and
Yeah.
songwriting. Like,
Especially this.
yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
even if it's not, like, let's say hypothetically, you know, like jazz is that way for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Country's similar.
Yeah.
Some folks don't get country; they don't
right.
dig it.
Right.
And some folks don't dig jazz. Whatever. That's fine. But like when you watch somebody love it, and they love the process, and you hear the
Mhm.
stories behind it, it's like,
Mhm.
I dig that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
special.
Yeah, it's really special.
Yeah, dude, that's so. Thank you, by the way, for being
Yeah.
vulnerable and sharing that, and opening up on our show. About
Thanks
that.
for having me.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
mean-
kidding? This is
Yeah.
awesome.
No, and I don't
People
know. I
to
just want-
share is
I
I
just
awesome.
wish
wanna-
I had a fallopian tube story. No,
well,
Well,
I don't.
he doesn't have one to share, but you have one about a two-fingered guitar player,
piano.
two-finger piano player.
That seems like. I feel like it'd be better on a guitar, 2
It
fingers.
would make more sense.
Yeah, I
But
feel like
we've talked about my family so
out
far.
of 10 or just 2.
No, he had hold on, left hand.
Oh,
It was
Oh.
these.
He's doing.
If it's two fingers, it can't be pinky and thumb because then you just look like
no,
you
it was
just
like.
He's just giving what's
like a
up.
surfer.
So you know how when you're growing up and you're around your older relatives, you can sometimes like you stare at them, but you don't want to make it too weird, so you like
Yeah,
try
you know,
to
like-
stare at them enough.
Oh, especially if they're
but
missing
not,
body parts.
You know,
Yeah.
and, so,
Yeah.
and you're sort of like transfixed by it, but you're afraid to ask.
100%.
So
Where'd your fingers go?
right,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't say that. That's for sure.
it's not something
Yeah.
that just, at least not for me.
Yeah.
No.
I just wasn't going to ask.
Usually it's the war, though.
Yeah.
You would think,
What happened to this guy?
but my granddad and my uncle Elsie.
You're related to this guy?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So my granddad had a bluegrass band of his brothers, and by the time I came around, a few of them had died. There were a lot of them. There were
Band of brothers.
They
is
were
what
a
it
band
is.
of brothers, the Givens brothers, and they played bluegrass together when they were young, and poor. They were sharecroppers, way back in the pre-depression and through the depression. They actually moved to Florida to pick fruit. It was very like Steinbeck,
Woof.
but
yeah.
make it Florida.
Yeah.
They ran out of gas,
Oh,
ended up
wow.
in
Old
Eustis.
Dust Bowl. They left the Dust Bowl.
They did.
And ended up
The
in
red
Eustis?
dirt in
Yeah.
Lower Alabama.
Jeez. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and they played bluegrass, and so they had brought their instruments with them.
Cool.
And I grew up, learning to improvise from them. But I had this one uncle. So the uncles' names are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So my granddad went by VV.
Okay.
His name was
Easy
Vernus
to say.
Virgil.
I like that.
Vernus
VV.
Virgil.
I like
VV.
that.
He
Vernus.
had hats with VV on it.
Cool.
He was so great. And he was a guitar picker and fiddle player. Then my uncle Acree played fiddle.
Akery.
That's a good name.
Acree.
That's a good
Okay.
name, dude.
I forgot the first one now. With this
VV.
one. VV.
VV Givens. That's my
Vernus.
granddad. Vernus Virgil.
Furnace. Okay. So it's like furnace, but with a
But
V.
with a V.
I have to picture it for me to remember it.
He was so cool.
Vernus and Acre.
Yeah.
Acree.
Akery. Ah,
Acree.
okay.
I knew this.
These are real names.
Vernus. These are real names, real
Okay.
people. So Vernus, VV,
Yeah.
Acree. Uncle Gaddis would call the dances
Of course he would.
because that's his job.
Yeah, natural Gaddis. And the old, what's it, the auction? I could see him calling the dances and the auctions.
He could do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, yeah,
Uncle Dossie.
of course. Dawsey.
Uncle Dossie kind of mostly smoked and cracked jokes.
Pipe?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Corncob
I
pipe?
hope people say that about me. Uncle Wayne just mostly smoked.
Smoked corncob pipe.
He just mostly smoked.
I mean, some of my like third cousins are gonna watch this and be like, "Wait, you got the uncles wrong. It was reversed." But
Yeah.
no, I
Okay.
swear, in my childhood memory,
Yeah.
this is how it was. There's Uncle Tom. His name's Easy.
Yeah, Uncle Tom was a cut down back in the day.
You know.
Yeah.
and then Uncle Elsie, who was the piano player,
Okay.
Yeah.
and he had 2 fingers on his left hand. And my whole childhood, I
Okay.
and he was so good
Does he play like this? Like,
piano.
oh, piano. I'm doing guitar
So,
again.
but he was doing like all they're playing those fast,
Yeah.
like early country. Everything was so fast and had so many notes, and I would find myself like,
How is he- how
looking
are they
like,
moving?
how is he doing
It's a
that?
blur.
So finally, one day, they had all gone home. They all lived like really close to each other up there in Eustis. I spent a lot of time in Eustis too.
Well, he
Sounds
slowed down enough for you to go. He's missing some
I
fingers.
knew.
Yeah, he was always
I
a
knew,
blur.
well, when we went fishing, so I'd see him baiting hooks and stuff, and I was always like, "What?
Yeah.
How? What is the
How?
story?"
Yeah.
So finally, one day, I'm like, okay, this is so personal, but so we called my granddad. We
More
called him-
personal than the last
Yeah,
story?
we called him Din Din.
Okay.
So I said, "Hey, Din Din, what happened to Uncle Elsie's hand?" And he
Din Din
starts
would
laughing.
Spill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys were Florida Man before Florida Man.
Come
talking
on.
about.
Yeah.
So sharecropping brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be chopping wood out back,
Of course,
No.
and it was on a dare.
Oh, God.
Elsie put his hand down on the chopping block.
What's the dare?
Tom said, "Move your hand or I'll chop it." Elsie was like, "You never will."
I thought there's got to be a better story.
And they went back and forth.
And then he
and
chopped
he
him.
chopped it.
Oh
And they
my
both thought the other one was going to chicken out.
The guy swinging should chicken out.
Holy moly.
These are relatives?
That's my great uncle and
Oh
my
my
other great
gosh.
uncle. May they both rest in peace. They're
Yeah.
playing bluegrass in heaven right now.
Oh, with
I dare you.
all fingers.
I dare you to swing that axe.
That's exactly how it happened.
Holy
It's that
moly.
ridiculous.
It's not a
And
good
you know,
dare.
they were so far from, you know, there were like itinerant
no
doctors
sewing those
back then
on.
where like they
Yeah,
were,
of course.
you know, they
Yeah.
were poor. So
Yeah.
He
they-
just burn it in the furnace.
I don't know what I didn't get closure on what
Chicken
happened
feed,
with the
probably.
fingers.
Yeah.
But man, he could play piano anyway.
Wow. Was he a piano player before?
I don't know.
Huh.
That predates me by a lot.
Yeah.
Back in the 1950s, there was a small town in Florida that became very problematic, and it was called Vernon. No, Vernon.
Isn't that one of your uncles?
I was gonna say, it's awfully close to my
literally was
granddad's
just
name.
about to say.
Right?
Such an uncle name, dude.
Yeah.
It is.
Uncle
Yeah.
Vernon.
Uncle
No,
Vernon.
it was
Had his-
Burnus.
Yeah, Uncle Vernus.
Yeah.
But so the population is about 800 people.
Okay.
Okay.
And for almost 100 years, Vernon's economy was based around lumber and steamboats. Okay.
They go together. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, like steamboats would bring workers into town and carry lumber out. And so the
Good
workers would.
trade.
Yeah.
So it's not like the fun steamboats where you get to like, you know, play cards or
No.
No.
Well,
like
maybe.
that's like
Oh,
a
like
riverboat,
Maverick.
like
with Mel
Oh,
Gibson.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Not
Mel
that
Gibson
kind.
movies.
No, I think it's more like industrial.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That
like
seems less fun.
it would, and like workers would just cut down all the trees, and the steamboats come back and pick up the wood and
I
take it back down the
gotcha.
river again, and that's
Like
kind
the
of
Harriet steamboat in Montgomery.
yes, very
Yeah.
similar, very similar.
Relevant.
But one day, so railroads came in and kind of modernized the area around
Uh-oh.
Vernon, and so the steamboat stopped showing up.
No.
And here's the thing about the lumber industry: you can chop down trees faster than you can plant them and watch them grow.
Uh-oh.
That's true.
So if you don't
Yeah.
plan ahead, not a good
Yeah.
industry to be
Yeah,
in.
You gotta plan ahead. If you're a stair builder, it's like that. You
That's
gotta-
Yeah.
important.
You got to also plant seeds.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, but that's what happened here. And so the town's number one industry dried up almost overnight. And so this leads to like almost unimaginable levels of poverty in Vernon, Florida. And so for the folks that stuck around, they had to turn to a very unique method of making money.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Is it
I'm
meth?
worried. Is it prostitution?
If it was meth, it would be way
Is it fiddle playing?
way easier.
They all started studying the
yeah.
fiddle.
Yeah. For real. Hold on. What are they burning for wood?
At this point, nothing. They ran out of wood.
They're burning their house down.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Okay. What is it?
All right. The reason why
Oh, here we go.
some of you may have heard of the small town is because Vernon is responsible for one of the largest insurance scams in American history. Vernon ranks highest on the loss of limb accident claims
Okay.
in the entire United States.
Whoa.
Like fingers.
I like how this ties in.
It's very topical.
Wow. You
It's
playing that?
very topical.
Okay.
So when it comes to people losing body parts and filing insurance claims, no
Okay.
one does it better than a town of 800 people living in Florida. The insurance industry calls this malingering by amputation.
Wow. Okay.
That's a real phrase
Wow.
All right.
that the insurance companies
Malingering.
use.
Wow.
Okay.
Malingering by
Malingering.
amputation.
Ugh.
Which, I mean, honestly, that'd be a cool song that your uncle could write.
It would be.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Or
cool?
you, or I mean, the next album,
Yeah. Yeah.
Malingering
Yeah,
by
Maling-
Amputation.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
It could be on there. It all started shortly after the lumber industry crashed. A young man in Vernon lost his hand trying to take part in trying to take apart a large saw that he found in one of the abandoned factories.
Of course, yeah.
So he loses his hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He files an insurance claim, and he's awarded $5,000
Okay.
by the insurance company.
Whew.
Okay,
Retirement money.
100%. So this young man tells his family, "I just
Mhm.
got this chunk of change for losing my hand."
Yeah.
They start telling their friends and their neighbors. Before you know it, all 800 people in Vernon are seeing dollar signs.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man.
I mean, what's his name? Just got a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't have a leg.
So I have to give and I'm going to clarify something here. This boy really did lose his hand. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
a prank. He lost
Yeah,
his
yeah.
hand.
Yeah, the first one is the original.
That's the original amputation,
yeah,
right?
The rest are
Right. So that piece of
Copycat.
information is
amputators.
yeah.
So were the rest of them made up?
Oh no.
I knew that's where this
Yeah.
was going.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that piece of information is very important moving forward. So shortly after the claim was awarded, citizens of Vernon started taking out multiple insurance claims on themselves.
Cool.
And this is when things get nasty. And I need to give a disclaimer. The rest of the story is pretty squeamish. Okay.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening now and you don't like that kind of stuff,
Well, they made it through my story.
yeah, well,
So
maybe
Yeah.
you're
maybe
here.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Forget the disclaimer.
Yeah.
We're good. We're
Cancel.
good. Tough it out. Essentially, the people of Vernon start losing body parts left and right.
Just
Oh
in
my
random
gosh.
accidents.
By random accidents, I have 3 here
Huh.
that are like these are court documented
Yep.
accidents, quote unquote, that happened in Vernon, Florida in the
Yeah.
1950s. Okay. One citizen lost his left arm from the elbow down. I'm sorry, his right arm from the elbow down.
Mm.
And when the insurance company asked him how it happened, he said, I was trying to shoot a hawk and my arm got in the way.
Oh
I get
my
it. Yeah.
gosh.
Hawks are quick.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
He was
Yeah, so
awarded
to go, oops, boom.
he was awarded
Yeah.
$3,000.
Well,
Oh my
man, that
God.
doesn't seem like it. I mean, what's that now money though?
I mean, dude, in the 1950s,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
That's
money.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
But think about that from the elbow down, trying to shoot a hawk. Realistically, you're like, I don't. How's your arm
Oh,
getting that much
Don't
of
you
the way?
like position
I
like the
know.
gun on your hand sometimes?
You're trying to aim and it slips.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just blows your arm off.
Like you're pouring
Maybe-
a bottle of wine.
Maybe it ricocheted off something.
Uh,
You know, like my cousins used to. Never mind.
no.
What? Go
Well,
on.
my cousins used to go shooting in these clay pits where they kept a bunch of like old farm. This is so
Old
redneck.
farm animals?
No, yeah.
No, like equipment, and
Yeah,
they'd
yeah,
like
yeah.
shoot at it, and then they'd run from the bullets.
Cool.
Holy
So,
moly.
like,
Get it. I think
My husband Jack can testify to that. They took him one day, and
That sounds kind of
What?
fun,
Oh,
actually.
it still happens. Okay. I thought it was
It's
like
a modern
Well,
day
this is
game.
the
those
ni-
old
90
black and
this-
white times.
this was the '90s.
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, I could
Maybe
Yeah.
ricochet.
maybe
right.
a really big bullet.
Well, let me read you a different
That's what
court
I'm
claim
talking
here. A different lady lost her entire right foot.
Uh-oh.
And her excuse she gave was, I thought it was a squirrel, and so I shot it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those new shoes.
She was awarded $8,000.
Dang, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Huh.
These are all court documented cases, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought my foot was a squirrel.
I feel like
So
there's
I
easier
shot it.
ways to get it done, though.
Yeah. Well, the longer this went on, the crazier the stories coming out of Vernon, Florida got. Because if you're requesting large
I
sums
feel
of
like
money,
those are pretty crazy, though. Shot
they are.
myself.
but if you're requesting large sums of money, like your story has to kind of match that, right? So like it's
course.
you
kind of
have
like,
to top the last.
Yeah.
especially when
lawsuit,
everybody
right?
in town is doing it and you're trying to justify it. And so again, I want to clarify: these people were really missing limbs. This is very true.
Yeah.
They were maiming themselves for insurance money. The IRS called this event a self-mutilation disaster, and it lasted over 3 years.
Wow.
Wow. That's a trend you don't want to take off.
I mean,
No,
can you imagine how
Like in
desperate you
your-
must be? Golly.
that level of poverty.
Yeah.
Right?
So, which actually, and we'll get into that in a minute, but that's part of the reason why people weren't questioning it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they were missing body parts. Nobody wants to
Right.
go, were you faking this?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
weird
yeah.
And you got to
argument.
think the guy with the amputation fetish was just on cloud 9. Right? He's like,
He's like, I ended up in the right town.
yeah.
What's
Yeah.
my
Like,
luck?
Burning, here I
Yeah.
come.
Hell yeah. And
Yeah,
so
they didn't have OnlyFans back then.
Yeah, so he had travel for
He had
it.
to
he
go
had-
to Vernon.
He had to work at Vernon, dude.
Yeah.
The case that finally grabbed the nation's attention was when a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Stevenson lost his left foot in a trucking accident.
Okay.
The details of the trucking accident
Yeah.
are as follows, and I swear on my life this is real. Jeffrey said in court that he
Mhm.
grew up driving a manual transmission.
My man.
One day his truck broke down. He was forced to drive his brother's automatic truck.
Okay.
All day, every day, he would stomp his left foot into the floorboard because he was so used to having to push the clutch in.
Of course. Yeah,
on
I
his
get it.
Okay.
Muscle
manual
memory.
transmission.
Okay.
Jeffrey claimed that he stomped his foot so many times that he eventually stomped it off.
Okay, Jeffrey. You're sure there was no meth?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
I love that.
And it says,
Yeah.
not only is that a true statement recorded in court, but Jeffrey was also awarded $25,000.
For stomping his foot off.
Stomped his foot off. Now, that's a compliment for your music. Somebody's put your music on,
Yeah.
band.
If they
Yeah.
stomp their foot off.
They stomp their
then
foot off, and they
That's
get
what
money
you
for
need.
it.
You need tragedy tied to this
I need
record.
tragedy.
Yeah.
Here's the
Okay,
thing.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, here's the thing. A man by the name of John Joseph Healy,
Uh-oh, what did he do?
he was sent in by the United States government
Yeah.
to investigate all of the claims coming out of Vernon. So when John arrived, the first thing he mentioned in his journal, and this is a quote, he says, "Every third person I see is missing a limb of some sort."
Oh my
gosh.
god.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, and this is another famous quote from the investigator, He says, this is verbatim,
Okay.
the second best thing to do in Vernon, Florida is gather in town and watch the dogs mate. The top
I'm sorry.
the top
Okay.
activity in Vernon is self-mutilation for cash, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, I get it if they're greyhounds because they're beautiful animals.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But anything other than that.
So
Perverted.
he
Wait,
said,
so what part of Florida is Vernon in? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
The nasty part.
The dirty part
Yeah.
is north. Yeah, it's
Okay.
north,
Okay.
Panhandle-esque. And so here's the issue: the insurance companies, they're not stupid, and in this case, neither is the U.S. government. But they couldn't prove
Of course.
that fraud was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, these people were
Because
missing limbs.
There, yeah.
So these people were willing to mutilate themselves for money.
Man, that's such a good question.
And it's difficult to look at. I mean, to look at a jury of their peers and go, "Do you believe these poor people?"
Come on, though.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
that's the
right.
hard part. And so by the late 1960s, insurance companies had raised their rates so high that no one could afford to be insured in Vernon.
Yeah.
That was their fix
Oh.
to
Makes sense.
to make it happen.
They
So
got to assess the risk. It's a higher risk. I get it.
100%. So this event led to Vernon, Florida, receiving the nickname Nub City.
Oh.
Oh, come on. That's
I
awful.
feel like nub is a slur.
I think in this case it is. He says,
Yeah.
and as we said earlier, it was one of the most successful insurance fraud cases in American history.
Well, we are anti-insurance companies.
Yeah,
We
so
are, 'cause
we're
they
pro
are
people of
scams.
Vernon, Florida.
We love
100%.
And what's fascinating about it is that
yeah.
like it is a case in the desperate measures people will take. But I kind of love the cascading nature of this story, where like one guy has a real occurrence,
Vernon. Right.
and
right.
everybody goes, you know what, man?
Envy.
They
Yeah.
coveted his loss of
Yeah.
limb.
Yeah.
See what happened? Took down a whole town.
Because they're like, at least he can eat.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
you know?
but that's
He's
part
not
of it.
eating mud.
And okay,
Right?
and look at
Wild.
Yeah.
at two of their excuses. We're hunting. I was trying to shoot a hawk.
A
I was trying to
squirrel,
shoot a
yeah.
squirrel. So
That
these-
hawk probably has squirrel in its mouth.
Well, yeah, and that's very on brand for folks in Vernon to have to hunt for their food when there's nothing else they can do.
Right.
course, yeah.
Right.
So
It
for
was
the-
either cannibalism or like cutting their own limbs off.
right,
I get it.
yeah, and so like it's not a stretch to see how they got there. What's amazing
Yeah.
is how long it worked.
Yeah.
For
That's
3
pretty cool.
years, these
Yeah.
folks, and there were other instances where folks would do multiple limbs. And
course.
the investigator, his main, and this is pretty brilliant too.
Yeah.
His main point in court was, they only lost parts that were convenient to them. So right-handed
Yeah.
people didn't lose right-handed,
Yeah.
whatever. And so that was his selling point, is going like,
Okay.
hey, like
yeah.
here's
Yeah.
whatever. And all their peers, all the people in the jury were like,
Yeah.
no, give them the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because think about it, they're not taking. It's not a Robin Hood situation where
Yeah.
someone's taking. You're not stealing
Right.
from the rich. I mean,
Right.
Steal
you're
from the
literally
insurance company.
taking from the rich,
I'm
giving to the
paying
poor.
Right.
premium.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everybody involved, it was a win-win. And then the insurance companies go, we're just done. And they,
So this begs the question: what's it cost for you to lose a limb
ooh, fall
personally, and what would it be?
Mm.
Would it be a pinky toe for 20 grand?
I was gonna say it would have to be. It would be some sort of toe or finger.
Yeah.
But a toe. I think a pinky
yeah,
toe.
because everything else is
Yeah.
included. It's either head or you
Mm.
get all the fingers or toes.
Yeah. And well, the only downside is to me losing the pinky toe is I couldn't skip anymore, and I skip quite
Yeah.
frequently.
Skipping is important.
Yeah, you do go heavy on the pinky toe with that.
Yeah. I don't know, Van. Do you want to answer that one?
I mean, I feel like I can't lose my hand.
Let's just say a perverted billionaire walks in
Okay.
and he goes, "For that pinky toe, I'll give you 30 grand."
I feel. Here's my problem.
She's thinking about it.
I'm a musician, so
Yeah.
I'm just not motivated by money.
Okay.
Oh, great
From a
answer.
pop
If I was
too.
motivated by money, I wouldn't be a musician.
Okay.
There you go.
$450,000 for a pinky
Still keeping
toe.
it.
What?
I'm still keeping it.
$780,000.
No, I'm introverted too. That's like an invasion.
Okay,
Right.
everything will be private. That's surgery. Nobody will know that you don't have pinky toe. You'll have a fake one put
I
on.
mean, I
$780,000.
no limbs. I would do like a lock of hair. That's kind of.
That's not going to help this pervert. He wants an
But
appendage.
look at this. Look at how great this hair is.
He wants flesh and bone.
No.
I'll tell you
It's not
what.
gonna
I'll
happen.
answer for $780,000. I will let you put me under and take my pinky toe.
Wow.
No,
I
we
think
don't
I
want that gross
that's-
pinky toe.
Okay.
It's been skipped too many times.
You've
if
already
you know what
offered
I mean.
it. You've offered and I accepted.
Yeah.
van plating legend. Thank you for coming on
Yeah,
our
Thanks
show.
so much for
And
having me.
we-
This has been great.
And for our gift.
Yeah, and thanks for the gift. And we want to roll the red carpet out for you. Where can we find your music?
You can find my music on the old Spotify,
Yeah.
Cool.
Apple Music, any of the places you stream music, you can find it. YouTube, all the places. Right now, my big push is towards Spotify because you like say what you want, think what you want. We all know it doesn't pay me anything, but that's I just
Course,
said that's
yeah.
not why I make music.
Yeah,
Uh,
but still.
The more people I can get
Course.
streaming my work, the bigger the reach my work has.
100%.
That's good. Yeah.
You know, so if you can go smash that follow button anywhere you stream music, all the places, then find me on socials and like click follow. Just go on a follow fest.
What's your handle?
Yeah.
Van plating?
Okay.
That's so
Yep.
nice.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hey, we love you. Thanks for listening to episode 239. We'll see you next week.
See ya.